The sun rose above the thick green canopy of the jungle, casting golden streaks across the winding path. Lena adjusted her backpack and wiped the sweat from her brow. She had traveled far to reach this place, a jungle rumored to hide ancient ruins lost to time. Her heart raced with excitement and a little fear. This expedition was not just another project, it was the adventure she had dreamed about for years. Birds chirped loudly, and somewhere nearby, a river gurgled through the dense undergrowth. Lena paused and took a deep breath, letting the wild scent of the jungle fill her lungs. Every leaf, every sound, seemed alive. She checked her map again. The ruins were supposed to be deep inside, where few had dared to explore. Lena smiled. She liked challenges. Suddenly, a rustle came from the bushes. Lena's hand went to the strap of her pack, though she knew she was careful and not entirely alone. From the greenery stepped a young man, carrying a small pack and a long walking stick. His dark hair was slightly messy, and his skin showed signs of sun and wind from the outdoors. "You must be Lena," he said with a calm smile. "I'm Ryan. I will guide you through the jungle." Lena studied him for a moment. He seemed confident, experienced. "Yes, I'm Lena," she said. "I hope you know these paths well. I don't want to get lost out here." Ryan chuckled softly. "Getting lost is part of the adventure," he said. "But don't worry. I know these woods like my home." Lena shook her head, trying to hide her impatience. She was serious about her work and didn't have time for unnecessary risks. Still, she felt a spark of relief. Perhaps with Ryan's help, she could reach the ruins safely. They started walking together, the thick vegetation brushing against their arms as they pushed forward. Lena noticed how easily Ryan moved through the jungle. Every step seemed effortless. She, on the other hand, felt every root and rock under her boots. The path was uneven, and the air was humid, sticking to her skin like a second layer. After an hour of walking, clouds suddenly rolled in, turning the sky gray. A faint rumble of thunder followed. Lena glanced nervously at Ryan. "Rain is coming," he said calmly. "We should find shelter soon." She nodded, feeling her excitement mix with concern. They searched quickly and found a small overhang near a rocky slope. Water began dripping from the leaves above. Ryan helped Lena move her pack under the shelter, and they crouched together, watching as raindrops fell in a steady rhythm, soaking the jungle. "This storm might last a while," Ryan said. "Better rest here for a bit." Lena sighed but allowed herself a moment to relax. She noticed how Ryan seemed unbothered by the rain, almost at peace with it. She admired that. She had always been more cautious, more tense. Perhaps being here, in this wild place, could teach her something. As the rain poured, they shared a small meal from their packs. Lena offered some dried fruit to Ryan. He smiled and accepted it, making a light joke that made her laugh despite the tension of the storm. It was the first time she felt comfortable with someone in a long while. Hours passed, and the rain slowed to a drizzle. Lena looked around at the jungle, feeling a mixture of awe and determination. This was no ordinary place. It was alive, ancient, and full of secrets. She was here to uncover those secrets, and she knew it would take all her courage, skill, and perhaps trust in Ryan to succeed. Ryan glanced at her, sensing her thoughts. "The jungle can be unforgiving," he said. "But it also rewards those who are careful and brave." Lena nodded. She felt a spark of connection to this stranger who seemed so different from anyone she had met before. Perhaps together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky with orange and pink, Lena felt a surge of excitement. Tomorrow, they would begin their real journey into the heart of the jungle, toward the hidden ruins. And she knew, deep inside, that this adventure would change her life in ways she could not yet imagine. For now, she was ready to rest, surrounded by the sounds of the jungle and the presence of a companion who might just become more than a guide. The morning sun peeked through the dense jungle leaves, casting dappled light on the ground. Lena stretched and felt the soreness in her muscles from yesterday's trek. She packed her things carefully, making sure her map and tools were ready. Ryan was already up, moving swiftly through the campsite, gathering supplies and checking the path ahead. "Good morning," Lena said, smiling. "Did you sleep well?" Ryan grinned. "As well as one can sleep in the jungle," he replied. "The birds were loud, but I like their music." They began walking along a narrow path, the jungle alive around them. Thick vines hung from tall trees, and the air smelled damp and earthy. Every few steps, Ryan pointed out footprints or broken branches, teaching Lena how to read the signs of animals and the terrain. She listened carefully, realizing that this knowledge could save her one day. Hours passed as they moved deeper into the forest. Lena's eyes scanned the surroundings constantly, looking for any sign of the ruins. Suddenly, she noticed something unusual: a stone partially covered in moss. She knelt down, brushing the dirt away. Symbols were carved into it, faint but visible. "Look at this," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "These are ancient markings. We must be close to the ruins." Ryan leaned over, examining the stone. "I've seen something like this before," he said. "It could be part of an old pathway. The ruins might be just ahead." Their pace quickened, hearts beating with anticipation. The jungle grew thicker, and the sounds of animals grew louder. Birds with bright feathers darted between the trees, and small monkeys chattered in the canopy. Lena felt a mix of nervousness and excitement. She had prepared for this moment for years, but seeing the signs in reality was far more thrilling than she had imagined. After climbing a steep incline, they reached a clearing. There, partially hidden by vines and roots, stood the remains of a stone wall. Moss and plants had claimed it, but the craftsmanship was clear. Lena's eyes widened. "These are definitely the ruins," she whispered. "This is incredible." Ryan smiled. "You were right. It's more beautiful than I imagined. But we should be careful. Some parts might be unstable." They stepped forward slowly, testing each stone before placing weight on it. Lena carefully documented everything, taking notes and photographs. She ran her fingers over the carvings, tracing the shapes and imagining the people who had built this place centuries ago. As they explored, Lena spotted a narrow passage leading deeper into the structure. "Ryan, look. There's a tunnel here. It might lead to the main chamber." Ryan nodded, his eyes alert. "Let's go carefully. The floor could be weak." They entered the tunnel, the air cool and slightly damp. Their footsteps echoed softly, and the faint light of the jungle outside made shadows dance on the walls. Lena felt a thrill of discovery. This was what she had come for: the chance to uncover history hidden for generations. Suddenly, Lena slipped on a loose stone. Ryan grabbed her arm just in time, steadying her. She laughed nervously, her heart still racing. "Thank you," she said, feeling a warmth in her chest. "I don't know what I would have done without you." Ryan smiled, a soft expression that made Lena feel at ease. "We look out for each other," he said simply. The tunnel opened into a small chamber, filled with carvings and broken statues. Dust and plants covered much of it, but the artistry was clear. Lena's eyes sparkled as she examined each piece. "These tell a story," she murmured. "Of people, their lives, their beliefs. It's amazing." Ryan watched her, impressed by her passion. He realized that her excitement was contagious. "You bring this place to life," he said. Lena smiled, feeling a connection she hadn't expected. She had come seeking adventure and history, but the bond forming with Ryan made this journey even more meaningful. Together, they would uncover the secrets of the ruins and perhaps discover something more about themselves along the way. As the sun began to dip toward the horizon, they carefully made their way back to the camp. Lena's mind buzzed with ideas and discoveries, while Ryan carried their supplies, keeping an eye on the jungle around them. That night, as they sat by the fire, Lena shared her sketches and notes. Ryan listened, asking questions and making observations, and for the first time, they laughed together freely, enjoying the companionship that had grown between them. The jungle was vast and full of mystery, but Lena knew that with Ryan by her side, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. Tomorrow promised more discoveries, more dangers, and perhaps, more moments that would bring them closer together. The morning air was thick with humidity as Lena and Ryan set out early. The jungle around them seemed quieter than usual, the usual chorus of birds and insects subdued. Lena felt a slight chill, though the sun was bright overhead. She adjusted her pack and followed Ryan, who moved effortlessly through the dense foliage. "Do you think the main chamber is far?" Lena asked, curiosity and excitement in her voice. Ryan glanced back and smiled. "Not far. But the jungle has its own plans. We need to be careful." They navigated through tangled vines and over roots that twisted like serpents across the path. Every step demanded attention. One wrong move could mean a twisted ankle or worse. Lena was careful, but the jungle was unpredictable. As they climbed a rocky slope, Lena's foot slipped on a wet stone. She grabbed a branch for support, but the branch snapped, and she lost balance. Ryan was immediately at her side, his hand steadying her. "Careful," he said, his eyes sharp. "This place is tricky." Lena smiled, a little embarrassed. "Thank you. I almost fell." "You're welcome," Ryan replied, his tone calm. "We'll take it slow from here." They continued, moving cautiously. Soon, the ruins opened into a larger area, partially collapsed but still magnificent. Stone walls, carved with intricate designs, rose from the jungle floor. The main chamber was likely nearby, hidden beneath fallen debris and thick vines. Ryan spotted a narrow passage that appeared to lead deeper. "That tunnel might take us to the chamber," he said. Lena nodded. "Let's check it out." The tunnel was dark and cramped. Roots hung from the ceiling, and the walls were slick with moss. Each step had to be deliberate. Lena's heart raced not from fear, but from the thrill of discovery. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the passage. A section of the ceiling gave way, sending a small shower of stones and dust toward them. Lena froze. "Move!" Ryan shouted, grabbing her arm and pulling her aside just in time. The stones crashed where she had been standing moments before. Lena's pulse raced. "That was close," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Ryan nodded. "This place wants to test us," he said. "But we can handle it if we stay alert." They pressed forward, moving more carefully than before. Each step was measured, each handhold was tested. Lena realized that she had to trust Ryan completely, and in turn, he trusted her to be cautious and aware. The mutual reliance created a quiet bond, unspoken but powerful. Finally, the tunnel opened into a small chamber. Sunlight filtered through cracks in the ceiling, illuminating carvings on the walls. The designs were beautiful but also mysterious, depicting scenes of ancient life and strange symbols Lena had never seen before. "This is amazing," Lena breathed, moving closer to examine the carvings. "These walls tell a story. I just wish I could understand all of it." Ryan stepped beside her, pointing to a pattern on the stone. "Some symbols are familiar to me," he said. "They seem to represent protection and courage. Maybe the people who lived here valued bravery." Lena smiled, thinking of the mornings near miss. "Bravery is needed here for sure," she said softly. They spent hours exploring the chamber, taking careful notes and photographs. Each discovery brought a mix of excitement and careful respect. They knew the ruins were fragile and could not be disturbed carelessly. As they prepared to leave, Lena paused and looked at Ryan. "I couldn't have done this without you," she said honestly. "You saved me earlier, and you've guided me safely through all of this." Ryan met her gaze, a soft smile on his face. "We make a good team," he said simply. "The jungle is tough, but together, we can face it." Lena felt a warmth in her chest, more than admiration for his skill. She realized she trusted him completely, more than anyone she had met in a long time. And perhaps, in the quiet of the ruins, she was beginning to feel something more. As they made their way back to the camp, the sun began to dip, casting long shadows across the jungle floor. The day had been challenging, but it had also strengthened their connection. Lena knew that tomorrow would bring more discoveries and more dangers, but she felt ready, knowing that Ryan would be by her side. For the first time, she felt that the jungle's mystery was not just about the ruins or the past, it was about the adventure she was sharing with someone who had already become important to her. The jungle was alive with sound as Lena and Ryan set out early. Birds called from high branches, and small animals rustled in the undergrowth. The morning air was thick with humidity, but Lena hardly noticed. She was too focused on the path ahead. The ruins were vast, and she knew there were more secrets waiting to be uncovered. "Do you feel like we are getting closer to the heart of the ruins?" Lena asked, wiping sweat from her brow. Ryan looked around carefully. "Yes. The carvings are becoming more detailed. That usually means the builders wanted something important to be preserved here." They moved cautiously through the jungle, stepping over roots and ducking under low branches. The stone walls began to appear again, taller now, covered with moss and vines. Some sections had collapsed long ago, leaving only piles of rubble. Lena felt a thrill in her chest. The ruins were older and more mysterious than she had imagined. As they explored, Lena discovered a large stone slab half buried in the earth. She brushed away the dirt and moss, revealing intricate carvings. The symbols seemed to tell a story, scenes of people working, celebrating, and helping each other. In the center, a figure appeared holding a smaller figure's hand, as if guiding them. "Look at this," Lena said, pointing to the carvings. "It tells a story of care and loyalty. They must have valued family or community a lot." Ryan studied the carvings. "And look here," he said, pointing to a series of symbols around the figures. "These might show courage and protection. Perhaps the central figure is a leader or someone important in their society." Lena nodded, fascinated. "It feels like they are telling us something important, something about their lives. I wish we could fully understand it." They continued exploring, moving deeper into the ruins. Vines hung from the walls like green curtains, and roots broke through the stone in strange, twisting patterns. Each new section revealed more carvings, more statues, and more mystery. Lena carefully documented everything, sketching and taking notes. Ryan helped, pointing out areas that seemed unstable or dangerous. At one point, Lena stumbled on a small uneven stone and laughed nervously. "I'm getting clumsy," she admitted. Ryan chuckled. "The jungle wants you alert. It teaches patience and care." They entered a larger chamber, its ceiling still mostly intact. Sunlight filtered through cracks above, illuminating carvings on every wall. Lena stepped forward, feeling a mix of excitement and awe. The carvings here were more detailed than anything she had seen so far. Some depicted people holding hands, protecting each other, and sharing food. "These people had strong bonds," Lena said softly, almost to herself. "They cared for each other and worked together." Ryan watched her, noticing the gentle smile on her face. He felt a warm admiration for her, not just her skill and courage, but the way she appreciated the lives of people from the past. "It's amazing how much life they left behind," he said. Lena looked at him, realizing he understood her excitement. "I feel like we're part of their story now," she said. They spent the afternoon studying the carvings and statues. Lena's sketches began to show patterns, and Ryan suggested a path that might lead to the central chamber. The two worked side by side, their movements synchronized, each respecting the other's space and thoughts. As the sun started to dip toward the horizon, Lena and Ryan took a short break. They sat on a fallen stone, sharing a quiet moment in the stillness of the jungle. Lena pulled out some water and offered it to Ryan, who accepted with a thankful smile. "You know," Lena said, her voice soft, "this journey is about more than discovering the ruins. I feel like I'm learning something about myself too." Ryan nodded. "I feel the same. The jungle tests us, but it also shows us what we are capable of. And sometimes, it brings people together." Lena looked at him and felt a small warmth in her chest. She realized that the connection between them had grown stronger with every challenge and discovery. It was no longer just about history or adventure, it was about trust, respect, and something unspoken between them. As they prepared to return to camp, Lena glanced back at the ruins. The secrets they had uncovered today were only a fraction of what remained hidden. She felt a mixture of excitement and determination. Tomorrow would bring more discoveries, more mysteries, and perhaps, more moments that would strengthen the bond between her and Ryan. The jungle whispered around them, full of life, full of stories waiting to be told. And Lena knew she was ready to uncover them, with Ryan by her side. The morning sun barely broke through the thick jungle canopy as Lena and Ryan prepared for another day of exploration. The air was humid, and the sounds of the jungle birds, insects, and rustling leaves filled the air. Lena adjusted her backpack and checked her equipment, feeling both excitement and a quiet tension. Today, they would go deeper into the ruins, where fewer people had ventured, and where danger could be hidden behind every tree and stone. "Are you ready?" Ryan asked, tightening the strap of his pack. Lena nodded. "As ready as I'll ever be." They moved forward cautiously, stepping over roots and ducking under low-hanging branches. The ruins were close now, broken walls and carved stones occasionally appeared through the thick vines. Every discovery thrilled Lena, but the jungle was unpredictable, and both of them knew it. After a few hours, they reached a narrow valley where the ground was uneven and slick from the morning dew. Lena slipped slightly on a wet stone, but Ryan's hand was quick to steady her. "You're careful, but we must stay alert," he said. "The jungle can be tricky." As they climbed through the valley, Dark clouds began gathering overhead. The wind shifted, and a distant rumble of thunder warned them of an approaching storm. Ryan looked around and then at Lena. "We should find shelter," he said. "This storm could be dangerous." Before Lena could answer, a flash of lightning lit the sky, followed by a loud crash of thunder. Rain began to fall in heavy sheets, soaking the jungle instantly. The ground became slippery, and a small landslide blocked part of their path. Lena's heart raced. They were far from camp, and the storm made everything more dangerous. Ryan took Lena's hand and guided her carefully down a safer path. "Stay close," he said. "We'll find a clearing where we can wait out the storm." The rain poured, and the wind shook the trees. Lena and Ryan finally reached a small, sheltered area near a cluster of rocks. They crouched together, dripping wet, and caught their breath. The sound of the storm was loud, but Lena felt a strange comfort in Ryan's presence. "I wasn't expecting this," she said, her voice slightly trembling. Ryan smiled gently. "The jungle tests us in many ways. But we can face it, together." Hours passed, and the storm slowly eased. The jungle around them shimmered with rain, the leaves glistening in the dim light. Lena looked at Ryan, grateful for his calm presence. She realized how much she depended on him not just for safety, but for support and guidance. "Thank you for saving me earlier," Lena said softly. "I don't know what I would have done alone." Ryan's eyes met hers, and for a moment, the world seemed to pause. "We look out for each other," he said simply. "Always." Once the storm had passed, they resumed their journey. The landslide had blocked their original path, so they had to find a new route through the jungle. The ground was still slippery, and every step required care. Lena's confidence grew with each careful movement, and Ryan guided her with steady reassurance. Finally, as the sun began to set, they emerged into a small clearing. The ruins stretched before them, larger and more mysterious than anything they had seen. Lena's eyes widened. The chamber they had been searching for was just ahead, partially hidden by overgrown vines and fallen stones. "We made it," Lena whispered, a mixture of relief and excitement in her voice. Ryan nodded. "Yes. But remember, the hardest part is still inside." Together, they entered the chamber. The carvings and statues inside told stories of courage, loyalty, and care. Lena moved closer to examine a large mural depicting people protecting each other during a flood. She felt a strange connection to the scene, remembering the challenges they had faced in the storm. "This is incredible," she said. "It feels like we are learning from them, even now." Ryan watched her, admiring not only her skill and intelligence but her heart and determination. "You bring these stories to life," he said softly. Lena smiled, feeling a warmth she could not explain. Today had tested them in every way: the jungle, the storm, the landslide, but they had faced it together. And now, standing in the heart of the ruins, she realized that their partnership was more than just teamwork. It was trust, respect, and a bond that had grown stronger with every challenge. As they settled down for the night, exhausted but exhilarated, Lena looked at Ryan and felt certain of one thing: no matter what dangers lay ahead, they would face them together, and perhaps discover more than just ancient secrets in the jungle. The morning light filtered softly through the dense jungle canopy as Lena and Ryan prepared to enter the deepest part of the ruins. The air was warm and filled with the scent of wet earth and plants. Every step they took brought them closer to what Lena hoped would be the heart of the ancient site. She tightened her backpack straps and checked her tools, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. "Are you ready for what's inside?" Ryan asked, his eyes scanning the dense foliage ahead. Lena nodded, her heart racing. As ready as I can be. I have a feeling this is what we've been searching for. They moved carefully through the jungle, navigating fallen trees and tangled vines. The ruins rose gradually from the ground, larger and more magnificent than any they had seen before. Moss and roots covered much of the stone, but the carvings and shapes hinted at a civilization full of life, creativity, and knowledge. After some careful climbing, they reached the entrance to a hidden chamber. It was partially blocked by fallen stones, but there was enough space to squeeze through. Lena took a deep breath and stepped inside first, Ryan close behind. The chamber was vast, with high ceilings and walls covered in carvings and murals. The air was cool, and the faint smell of damp stone filled the space. Lena's eyes widened as she took in the beauty around her. This was more than a ruin, it was a treasure trove of history, perfectly preserved in the heart of the jungle. Look at this, Lena whispered, moving closer to a large mural. It depicted people sharing food, helping each other build structures, and protecting their community. In the center, two figures stood side by side, holding hands as they led others safely through the scenes. Ryan nodded, examining the carvings. It seems these people valued unity and courage. They wanted their story to last for generations. Lena smiled, feeling a deep connection to the people who had lived here. It's incredible. They trusted each other, worked together, and cared for each other's safety. And now, their story is ours to learn from. They spent hours carefully documenting the chamber. Lena sketched the murals while Ryan measured sections of the room and checked for fragile areas. Every detail mattered. They moved slowly, respecting the history around them, making sure nothing was damaged. At one point, Lena touched a carved figure, imagining the hands that had shaped it centuries ago. I feel like we're part of their story now, she said softly. Ryan looked at her, his eyes reflecting admiration and warmth. And we'll make sure it's shared with the world, he said. As the day passed, they discovered a small alcove hidden behind a pile of stones. Inside were delicate artifacts, small statues, pottery, and tools. Lena carefully lifted each piece, examining it with awe. Ryan helped her, making sure they were handled safely. These are amazing, Lena said, her voice filled with wonder. They show how intelligent and skilled these people were. Ryan smiled. And brave too. It took courage to build all of this in the heart of the jungle. They sat together for a moment, exhausted but happy. The discoveries had been more than they imagined. Lena looked at Ryan, feeling a warmth she could not explain. The challenges they had faced together, the storm, the slippery paths, the jungle itself had brought them closer. She realized she trusted him completely and felt something more than admiration for his strength and skill. You know, Lena said, softly, I never expected this expedition to feel so personal. Ryan turned to her, his eyes gentle. I know what you mean. This journey has been about more than just ruins. It's about discovering what we're capable of, and finding someone you can rely on. Lena felt a smile spread across her face. She had found not only history and treasure in the jungle but also a connection with someone who understood her, shared her courage, and respected her heart. As the sun dipped low in the sky, casting warm light across the chamber, Lena and Ryan carefully prepared to leave. They would return to the camp, but the memory of the hidden treasure, the carvings, and the artifacts would stay with them forever. More importantly, the bond they had formed in the heart of the jungle had become unshakable, a quiet promise of trust, respect, and perhaps, something more. The ruins had shared their secrets, but Lena knew that the greatest discovery was not the artifacts or the carvings, it was the journey they had shared and the bond they had formed in the depths of the jungle. The jungle was quiet in the early morning, mist rising from the ground like a soft blanket. Lena stood at the edge of the clearing, looking back at the ruins one last time. Every stone, every carving, every hidden passage held memories of discovery, danger, and wonder. Her heart felt full, yet heavy. The expedition was ending, and soon she would have to leave this place behind. Ryan approached silently, carrying their equipment. He paused beside her and looked at the ruins with the same quiet admiration. "It's hard to leave," he said softly. Lena nodded. "I thought I was prepared, but it feels like part of me will stay here." They began the journey back through the jungle, moving carefully along the familiar paths. The morning sun filtered through the canopy, casting golden light on the wet leaves. Birds sang overhead, and the river gurgled nearby. Every sound and movement reminded Lena of the days they had spent together, exploring, discovering, and overcoming challenges. As they walked, Lena glanced at Ryan. He moved with the confidence of someone who knew the jungle deeply, but his eyes often checked on her, making sure she was safe. She realized how much she had come to rely on him, not just for guidance, but for comfort and support. "Ryan," she began, her voice a little uncertain, "I want to thank you. Not just for helping me through the jungle, but for everything." Ryan looked at her, his expression gentle. "You don't need to thank me," he said. "We faced this together. And I'm glad we did." They walked in silence for a while, the jungle around them alive yet calm. Lena thought about the hidden treasures, the carvings, and the stories of people from long ago. But more than that, she thought about the bond she had formed with Ryan. Trust, respect, and something more, something quiet but strong, had grown between them in the heart of the ruins. When they reached the edge of the jungle, the sounds of civilization began to appear faintly in the distance. The adventure was ending, but Lena did not want the connection they had built to end. She looked at Ryan, her chest full of unspoken words. "I don't want this to be the end," she said softly. Ryan's eyes met hers, and he smiled. "It's not the end," he said. "This is just the beginning. One day, I will join you outside the jungle. We can face the world together, like we faced the jungle." Lena felt a warmth spread through her chest. She smiled, feeling a mixture of relief and happiness. "I'd like that," she said. They reached the road where a small vehicle waited to take Lena back to the city. The jungle behind them seemed almost alive, as if it were bidding farewell. Lena turned for one last look at the dense green canopy, the ruins hidden beneath the foliage, and the paths they had traveled. "Goodbye, jungle," she whispered. "Thank you for everything." Ryan stood beside her. "Goodbye," he said. "And thank you, Lena. For trusting me, and for letting me be part of this adventure." They shared a quiet moment, the air between them filled with understanding and unspoken promises. Lena felt a surge of hope. The jungle had given her adventure, history, and discovery, but most importantly, it had given her someone who shared her courage, her excitement, and her heart. The vehicle's engine hummed, signaling that it was time to go. Lena picked up her pack, and Ryan followed. As she climbed into the vehicle, he reached through the open door and held her hand gently. "Until we meet again," he said. "Until then," she replied, squeezing his hand. The vehicle slowly drove away, leaving the jungle behind. Lena looked out the window, watching the green canopy fade into the distance. The adventure was over, but the memories, the discoveries, and the bond with Ryan would remain forever. Lena knew that the story of the jungle would stay with her, not just in her notes and sketches, but in her heart. And she knew that this was not the end of her story with Ryan. The journey had shown her courage, trust, and the power of connection. As the city skyline appeared in the distance, Lena felt a quiet excitement for the future. The ruins had given her adventure, but Ryan had given her hope and perhaps, something even more lasting. For the first time in a long while, Lena smiled with certainty. The jungle had changed her life, and so had Ryan. Their paths had crossed in a place of mystery and history, and now, the story of their bond was just beginning.